It's double feature day on Monday Madness this week as we talk some double features that we find particularly interesting. We've come up with them ourselves. They're not necessarily official double features. We're quite excited about that Let's Talk conversation. I think we're also excited about some MCU casting news, a couple of trailers, including the one for the latest one for Avatar, The Way of Water. Do we care, or is it just a big excuse to watch some pretty things on a big screen? Who knows? What else do we have to talk about? I don't really know. I've forgotten now, but we'll get into it. Welcome to the Madness. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Monday Madness with Morgan and the Machine. Hello, the Machine.
Hello, the Morgan. That was a solid intro.
I think it was. I worked with it. My headphone kept falling out, you know, as it often does.
I mean, this wouldn't be the Kickback Chill show without just, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. We roll with it. Remember when we had massive technical problems?
Oh my gosh, that was the worst.
With it?
Yeah.
I hope we managed to figure that out so it was somewhat smooth. It was in the end. It was. We sorted it out.
Yes.
But we did have that. We go with it. We roll with the punches.
We do
on Monday Madness, Jeannine. What else do we have to talk about? I don't actually think we do have anything else. To talk about. Oh, do we? Yes, we do. Actually, don't we?
I mean, your release system over there has been ridiculous. So you haven't been getting movies that we've gotten here for about several months. So you finally got to see Barbarian, the new horror movie that everybody's kind of been buzzing about. So we're going to hear your thoughts on that today.
That's very true. We don't like the October or the September-October release schedule in Britain is horrific compared to the US. And then kind of you tend to get a lot of interesting Oscar-y stuff or indies or things like that in November, December, and we usually get those in kind of January, February. It's a little bit weird. But again, that's just another example of something we have to roll with the punches on.
Yes.
But I think we should just start off the show by asking the question we always like to ask before I take another nice drink of tea, Jeannine. Sup, Jeannine? Sup?
We got some stuff up today, Morgan. So yes, we were just talking about Barbarian. So you finally got to see this movie. It's been out for a bit over here, but
well, we have a review of it, don't we?
Yes, I had to review it by myself because you just couldn't see it yet. So
which was unfortunate.
Yeah, so I think this is a really smart horror film. A lot of people are talking about kind of the interesting casting choices, the kind of themes of it, what this movie's saying as being some really interesting stuff. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on finally getting to see Barbarian.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of don't want to spend too long on it because we do already have a review up on the It's Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel where you may be watching Monday Madness right now. So definitely go and check out Jeannine's thoughts on Barbarian on that video if you haven't already. But what I liked most about it was the structure of it. Yeah. And having stayed away from knowing anything about it from people are good like this horror Twitter. I know Twitter's in a meltdown at the moment. We don't have to get into all that nonsense, but we know Twitter may actually be rapidly dying in front of our eyes, and we're kind of in desperate need for another decent social network. But horror Twitter generally is really, really good to you. Not away until you're able to see it.
Yeah, the fact that you've been able to kind of stay spoiler free all this time, I think is a testament to horror fans in that respect amongst us.
I mean, I think I've even seen out of context images of the woman, the kind of should we say monstrous woman from Barbarian, I think I've seen out of context images of her, not realizing that, you know, that was from this movie.
Yeah.
But it's definitely the structure that impressed me the most. I don't feel it was overhyped like I've seen some people say, because people have been kind of lauding it as a fantastic horror movie. I think it is a fantastic horror movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Really, really interesting movie. Structurally, being the fact that it does those kind of two very sharp cuts into tonally totally
different things,
realms, different scenes, you know, different times,
different really, like really saturation levels.
Yeah. A really, really, really interestingly told movie. With, you know, thematic stuff going in. I think what the movie's about, and I think this is the great thing about horror movies like this, is that they have a clear idea of what they want to say. Yes. I am trying to be vague as to not give many
too much away.
I don't want to do that in these particular thoughts. I've forgotten what I was saying now. It has a very clear idea that it wants to say.
Yes.
But I think that idea can be interpreted in a couple of different ways. And I've seen people moan about the movie, saying that in the same way that people moaned about X, Ty West's X, that came out obviously earlier this year. Pearl has been released since that, a movie I still have not even, as far as I'm aware, got a release date to be able to see in this country, which is horrendous. I mean, I don't know why. But in the same vein that people were talking about X and Pearl in X, the character of Pearl in X, being supposedly, you know, all about the horror of old women who just want to have sex, and it's more than that. It's more than that. That is the surface level of it. But the interesting stuff comes underneath. The interesting stuff comes when you realize why Pearl in X before we even got Pearl. And I don't, like I said, I don't know anything about the movie Pearl. I know the character from the movie X.
Yeah.
When we learn what we learn about the character of Pearl in X, we realize that she's a victim of circumstance. We realize that she's been driven to the horrors she commits in that particular movie. And that is very similar to what we see with the monstrous woman. We don't even get a name for her, do we? In this movie, in Barbarian. She's driven to essentially lure people, kidnap people, house people as prisoners in a way to make up for her own desire of wanting children, because she's come from a line of what seems to be, and I suppose this is a spoiler, she's come from a line of what seems to be semi-incestuous or descending.
I mean,
from a semi-incestuous rapist.
Yeah, she's a product. She's a product of some horrific things. So it's not by any kind of other means than that she was kind of brought into this earth and in this situation against her kind of own understanding.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's a very, very sad movie, actually, Barbarian.
Yeah, and also kind of just this great depiction of like what real villains look like.
What real villains look like.
Yeah, you have this monstrous kind of creature, but there are things worse in the situation, like the kind of old homeless man character we have. He says that she is not even the worst thing in that house.
And she's not, because the dude is.
Yeah.
He might be bedridden and virtually can't move by the time we see him in present day in the movie. But, the guy played by Richard Brake is the monster of Barbarian.
Yeah.
And the monster, in a similar way, the monster of X isn't really Pearl.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not really Pearl's husband either. It's almost the lack of intimacy. Lack of intimacy is the monster in X, in the movie X.
Yeah.
But no, this very obvious predatory man is the monster of Barbarian, and that is the interesting thing about this movie. It has what it is. What it is. It appears to be one thing on the surface, and it appears to be one thing on the surface in many different surface ways. Almost structurally, it appears to be one thing at the beginning. You have Bill Skarsgård in there as somebody for who the first half of the movie you are convinced is the evil one. You are absolutely convinced the evil person in this movie is going to be Bill Skarsgård because it's Bill Skarsgård.
Exactly. The casting is perfect. It's definitely meant to subvert your expectations because you have Bill Skarsgård, this character who is very known as Pennywise, and just also kind of he's creepy but also attractive at the same time. So he has this look that you're just very much questioning him and his actions the whole time. And I
don't want to turn this entire episode into a discussion about this.
No.
Because we do have other things we want to get into, but I really do find it a very, very interesting movie. How it plays with expectations so much, externally and internally. Like within the movie itself, it plays with expectations, and it plays with your own audience expectations of who's going to be who in this movie, what's going to be what in this movie. It's a very, very clever movie. And I think people aren't looking at it. I think people aren't giving it enough credit if they say it is about a monstrous old woman. Oh, let's all be scared of old women. Because I don't get that from it. I get something deeper from it.
Yeah.
And I think some people do get something deeper from it. Some people won't get that, but some people will. And this is the interesting thing about movies like this is because I still do think it actually works as a scary movie if you even want to consider her as the main source of horror in this movie. She is pretty terrifying to look at.
Yeah.
There's some terrifying chase-related scenes with her. 100% there is. If you want to consider it as almost a slasher movie. But
I think it's just meant to subvert your expectations on what a real villain looks like.
It is, yeah.
And that's
100%.
definitely one of the major themes in there, and I think they execute that really well.
And playing with gender a lot. Playing with gender an awful lot, which is something I adore when horror movies do.
Yeah.
I was very impressed by it. I come out of the cinema going, that was really nasty. I really like that. Very, very original.
Yeah.
We need more movies like it. We need to be celebrating movies like it, even if you don't like the movie. We need to be celebrating movies like
just a great
this.
year for original horror in terms of things like Pearl and X and this movie. And so just been a great year for horror, and this definitely adds to that. Nope.
Unless Nope was a sci-fi movie, but yes, those are some basic thoughts on Barbarian. I suppose I could talk in length about this year in horror and this genre. I've actually seen articles where people refer to a subgenre that now houses Barbarian and X and a couple of others as the hagsploitation genre.
Oh my gosh!
To kind of vilify the supposed
these older women characters. Well, I mean, if you watch Pearl does kind of already speak to a murderous nature within the character, so it's definitely not fully a thing of circumstance with her. she has always been like that when you watch Pearl. So,
well, this look, this gives still. It's not about. I just don't get it being about. Oh, let's be scared of old women,
ladies. Yeah,
I just don't get
I
it.
mean,
That
I
is
guess
the
it's like
furthest thing.
We've been scared of children for how long in horror? So let's just let's switch it up. Like, is that the kind of thought process that happens?
I don't know. I think people are trying to make it out as being some sort of like faux feminist thing, or it's kind of passing itself off as pro-feminist, and it's actually being very anti-women because of who its monster is. And look, there's some interesting points. There's interesting discussions to have on that front. I just personally don't see it myself, and I don't think that's the intention behind these movies. I don't think that's the intention. If that is the outcome for some people's opinions on these movies, that's one thing, but I just don't think it's the intention behind it.
Yeah.
At all. But anyway, yes, those are some thoughts I had.
Okay.
Barbarian.
Yes, so definitely has me thinking next month we definitely should do a whole kind of, end of year favorite horror films of the year type thing, and horror we're looking forward to next year. So definitely an episode, I think, of the Monday show we'll do something like that.
I like that.
Yeah, but yeah, we got a couple trailers that I wanted to talk about. We had the new Avatar trailer.
Let's talk about that then. Avatar, The Way of
Water.
Movie nobody cares. I'm gonna stop making jokes about Avatar.
I mean, it's just kind of, we waited really long time, so I think that kind of excitement about it has weaned tremendously. Even at D23, it was the last thing at the big kind of Marvel panel, like the big huge panel. It was the last thing, and people were already kind of just like done and ready to leave, and then they kind of blacked out the room and handed out these 3D glasses. And actually we watched several, I think at least 9 or 10, it felt like clips, scenes from the movie. And everyone seemed like, it was fine. I mean, the first scenes they showed that were in the water actually looked really great. But then once we got to other scenes in the jungles and stuff, it looked very much like a video game cutscene. So I don't know if it was just still things they're working on. I mean, it looked good, but it was just very much smoothed over. Yes. So it looked a little too gummy, So that kind of had me a little concerned that at this point, however many years you've been working on this film, and still it doesn't look as kind of textured and real like the first film. It just, I don't know. But I mean, this trailer looked good. It looks interesting. It seems like it's going to be a ton of new characters, a ton of characters in general. So I don't know if it's going to get to be very over bloated and really kind of hard to understand. The trailer doesn't really tell us much of the story per se. No. So I'm still kind of curious about that. So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about this movie. I mean, I'll see it, but I don't know that I'm excited about it, or as excited as I thought I would be about it.
What stuck out to me the most, I think, from this trailer was the fact that the actual planet of Pandora seems to just look brighter than it did, than I remember it doing in the first Avatar movie. I don't know if that's because a lot of these scenes are at daytime and a lot of those scenes were at nighttime. I honestly don't actually remember. But I think the place itself looks brighter. There's coral reefs, and I like the idea of different types of
yes.
I like the idea of these different types of Na'vi creatures: the water people, the land people, the sky
people. Yeah,
I like the idea of all this. I like the idea of this kind of
diversity within an already together. Kind of, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything of the story. We don't know anything of the story. And yet, like you've said, this trailer gives us nothing of the story, which I actually think is a good thing. Because I think if they tried to do that, we'd all be like, you're trying to play on a movie that was one movie that was absurdly successful. Of course it was. Ridiculously successful. Is it not still the highest grossing movie ever?
Yeah.
It's an absurdly successful movie. I actually think it was only as successful as it was because it struck the 3D gold at the time of 3D, at a peak time of 3D. And let's be honest, we all saw it in 3D. We all were visually stunned by Avatar. And I think that is perfectly valid. And this is what we will all always say about that first Avatar movie. It is unbelievable to look at. You will remember when you went to watch it in the cinema, because you went to watch it in 3D and it was beautiful. And you were swallowed up into that world. You were. I do not think we are going to get swallowed up into that world again. Are people going to go and watch this in 3D? No, because do people care about that now? No, I don't think they do.
I mean, I feel like there's going to be enough convincing that like that's the only way to see this movie in IMAX 3D. That's the best way to see it.
I'm not doing. I'd rather go and watch one of the 50s 3D movies, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I'd rather go and watch Creature from the Black Lagoon or other 3D movies. What is it? It Came from Beneath the Sea. Is that a 3D movie? Or The Terror from Beyond Space? One of those, I'm sure, is a 3D movie. I'd rather go and watch one of those because they at least have gimmick shots in there. I don't remember any gimmick shots in Avatar. There's nothing fun about it. It's just, a load of flying things around your head. It's not like somebody pointing at you in the screen and poking you in the face, which is kind of... That's what I want from a 3D movie.
Really? You want the corny, the Jason, the Friday the 13th movie where they
recently watched... I recently watched a new Vincent Price movie for me, The Mad Magician, which was a 3D movie. And there is literal shots in that last for way too long, that are pure gimmick shots of Vincent Price performing on stage, squirting water at you, the audience, the camera watching. And it's just like, oh, that's fun, isn't it? And it has no impact when you watch it in 2D at all. Nothing. It's just you're just watching him going, "Aha! I'm gonna squirt you."
Wow. I am a fan of the idea of interactive kind of cinema in that aspect. I mean, that was early 3D that I remember thinking was really fun and silly as a kid. So I get what you're saying, but I mean,
like that.
I saw something like
3D.
I know, and this is what this is going to be, but like I do kind of fall into the trap of like I think that's probably the best way to see this movie is clear and like as like it took him this long because he wanted it to look a certain way in a certain type of style, in a certain type of viewing experience.
And
so
it does look
why
beautiful.
not do myself that favor and watch it in that intended viewing experience? Tom Cruise, gets on these videos and talks about the best way to watch his movies and the best way to view them to get the full experience. And I think that is something that people don't always think about. So I mean, I feel like I would even probably go see it in 4DX because that would just be make it kind of a fun experience. So I mean, I don't know, call me a a sheep in that sense.
No.
But I think I feel like that's the way he wanted it to be seen, and that's the way it will look best, and that's the way I can enjoy it as the director meant it to be enjoyed. So while I am not that excited about it, I think that is still probably the way I will go and watch it.
Well, I do think that is a fair point because I do think it's going to be more of a visually enjoyable experience than
an actual good story movie.
Than a good movie.
That's kind of what the first one was. So
it was a very simple story that was far more interested in being a visually beautiful experience. That is what this one's going to be as well, which you have to appreciate it for, because it has its almost reason behind it being made. You know, Cameron wants it to be that, it's going to be that. So who's to argue with it? We can't argue with it. We just take it for what it is. Whether we're going to be interested in seeing some of the same characters from that one movie, we all didn't massively kind of integrate ourselves with the characters in anyway. From 13 years ago, is going to be something else. I mean, look, if he can do that, if he can make us feel something for these characters again, that's even better. I want that. I want this to be more than what I think it's going to be. I just don't think it is going to be more than that.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely going to be this kind of very like, you know, like you said, kind of thinking it's greater than it is just because of what it's doing technically. It's going to be a great looking film, but in terms of kind of any kind of story that you really are interested in or care about, like, I'd rather just watch Fern Gully, you know. So
Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, definitely I think that the mission ahead is for us to kind of care about these characters, especially when a lot of these characters look very much the same, and there feels like
they're all just the blue Na'vi people.
Yes, so they all feel very kind of the same, and so we need to get some distinct personalities. We need to kind of have some standout characters that we're following, but this trailer just looked like there are so many characters to follow that I don't know if it's going to just be a whole mishmash. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I hope we're not being offensive to the Na'vi people by saying you all look
the same. Yeah.
Fact of the matter is, the Na'vi people, you know.
Yeah, I mean, once you get close, then you kind of notice some differences, but
you're all the exact same shade of blue.
Yes, I mean the C ones, I think they're trying to work with different tones and things like that, but like you don't really get that.
They wear different clothes. They wear different clothes.
Different loincloths.
They have some markings on. Look, if it gets me into enjoying the world of Pandora, sure. Like I said, this is almost what I want from this movie. I just have a lot of trepidations going in because I just think, and I feel like a lot of people are like this. They're in a "are we interested" kind of attitude, and I think the majority, nobody's going, yes, I'm really interested in this.
Yeah,
apart from James Cameron.
Yes, because I think the vibe at D23 was definitely like, okay, like we saw everything great, you know, that we wanted to see from Marvel and Star Wars and all of that. Time to go, and then we got hit with this Avatar at the end, and everyone felt very much like, oh, what is this? Like that very much felt like the energy that I was getting in the section I was sitting in. So I don't know how people are feeling about this movie. I know I'm just like not as excited as I thought I would be, but you know, I'm still gonna go see it and see what's going on, because the trailers really did not give away a lot of the actual story. So I don't know if that is a choice or if that's just they really don't have a strong story. So we'll see.
We will certainly see.
So now we move on to the Wonder trailer, a Netflix original movie with our favorite Florence Pugh.
A trailer I'm actually interested in, and a movie I'm actually interested in, mainly because it's Florence Pugh. She's wearing old-timey clothing, and this just works for me. I'm into it all. It's great. Yes, success, celebration.
So the story kind of is looking like this girl who is acting very strange. This seems I'm not sure what time period you would say this takes place in.
I've old times. I don't really know. It's in Ireland. Florence Pugh's playing. By the sounds of it, someone from the north of England. So this is interesting to hear.
Yeah,
Florence Pugh
she's
put on
definitely seen as
an arbitrarily northern accent, which is exciting.
yeah, she's seen as an outsider, but this young girl in this village, I guess, has been acting very strange. She hasn't eaten in 4 months, so they call her in. I guess she's some kind of nurse or doctor who comes in to help with the situation. And the girl seems like she's like, "Oh, I'm fine. I've just been chosen." And
There's some sinister things going
yes.
on.
So there's some weird kind of possession happening with this girl, but she's seemingly acting very normal, but she's not
I
doing
think
normal things. And so it's kind of this mystery that Florence Pugh has to figure out in a medical sense and seemingly like going into a spiritual sense what's happening with this girl in this small village. So
I think
yeah.
it might be a vampire situation, I'll be honest with you. I don't know.
Oh.
We don't know what this is. Is it some sort of demonic possession? Is it some sort of religious cult type
Yeah.
situation? Is it a vampire situation? We don't know. What we do know is this movie, I think, looks very creepy, very tense. We always trust anything Florence Pugh does, even though it's a Netflix movie, and I'm in the camp of Netflix movies aren't real movies. Put it in the cinema if you want me to go and watch it, because I will definitely just not go on Netflix when this comes out, or scroll straight past it and go, no, I'll just watch a show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would have seen this trailer had one of my horror mutuals on TikTok shared the trailer.
And then
And
you
even when
shared
she
it with
shared it,
me.
I thought it was an original, like a movie coming out in theaters, and then the Netflix thing popped at the end. So I was like, okay. But the fact that Florence Pugh, she has
We trust
done
Florence Pugh.
yes, she is someone who has not done a bad thing, and if the thing she's in is not the best, she's always the best thing in the thing, like, it's not at any
Pretty
fault of her
much.
own. So
Pretty much.
anything she does, she is great in. So I have not seen her do a bad turn in anything. So, um, she's what's kind of selling this movie for me, and just the trailer really
Absolutely.
sold the mystery of kind of what's going on, didn't give too much away. Like, obviously, it has you kind of conjuring ideas of, like, vampire lore and things happening in it, and, I'm seeing a more kind of supernatural thing, so I love that this
Yeah.
trailer is kind of, giving you something to kind of think about it and want to know about this mystery happening. So, yeah, The Wonder, I'm really curious about this film and excited to see more Florence Pugh in literally anything, so
In literally anything, because she is just wonderful. She's delightful. She's my favorite working actor today. I think is a
yeah.
fair statement to say. I really do think she is the best younger. There are still some
Yeah,
very, very well respected, well revered older actors
of
working
course.
um, on the younger side, because she's not much older than I am,
No.
Florence Pugh. I do not think she is much older than I am.
I
If
think you
she
guys
is
are the
even
same
older
age.
than I am,
No, I think
how
she's like a year younger than you, actually.
is she really? Is she
I think
younger than
so.
me? I think me and Tom Holland are the same age. I think. I don't know now. I don't know. I'm confused. Anyway,
Do
I
we need to
really
look it
love
up?
Florence Pugh. We all really love
Yes,
Florence
me
Pugh.
too.
She's great. I know for a fact that I am 8 days younger than Maisie Williams.
Okay.
I know that for a fact because she's born on the exact same day as one of my best friends.
Oh, Florence Pugh is 26.
No, yes, okay. She's only a year older than me. I identify with Florence Pugh. I do. She's just wonderful. And yes, you're gonna creepy movie set in weird rural, what looks like 18th century Ireland.
Yeah,
Why
very
wouldn't I be
great
so
setting.
into
That is
this?
so your vibe, so your vibe. Tom Holland also is 26, born
Is
June
he? I thought
1st.
Tom Holland was out. I thought he was the same age as me. Boo, Tom Holland.
So
No,
he's a few weeks older than you.
I see. Boo. No, don't.
Oh, no,
Let's
no,
not
you're
boo.
you're older than him by a couple months. I'm sorry. I saw read that wrong.
I'm older than him. Jeannine,
Yes.
how old am I?
You're 26.
I'm not 26, Jeannine.
You were 26.
1997, Jeannine. Let's do the
No, don't make me do math on camera,
Do the
please.
maths there.
No,
Go from
please don't.
2000.
Please don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Just please cut all of this out, please. Don't make me do math on camera.
You'll be cutting none of it out. I'm
Please.
25
Pretty please.
years old. But yes, so there you go. Florence Pugh. We love The Watcher. Looks very, very interesting, Jeannine.
The Wonder.
The Wonder, not The Watcher. I've got that stupid show in my head now, haven't I? That's because that's on Netflix as well. That'll get you confused. You can watch that stupid show everybody's been watching about and then whinging about the finale of. Yes. Or you can watch this movie that's got the exact same title. It's not got the exact same title. You can see where my confusion comes from. I don't know what's going on, Jeannine.
The Monday Show.
The Monday Show. The Monday Show. I'm here struggling to speak because I've been coughing and now confusing television shows with movies.
I don't know how to do math. I forgot how old you were. It's fun. Fun times on the Monday Show. It is always
fun. The Wonder. Wonderful looking movie. Yes. We're into it. Yes. Casting news. We also have Jeannine.
Yes.
MCU related casting news.
Yes.
Aubrey Plaza in Agatha, Coven of Chaos, the Agatha Harkness TV show with Catherine Hahn. I think there's also been a couple of other actors cast in that show.
Yeah, a younger actor, and nobody's confirmed of who he's playing. But people think he's the older version of Wiccan, of one of Wanda's sons. So
they're not bringing the same kids back? Come on, bring the same
I mean, I think
back.
so this is not confirmed, but I think people think that that's what this character is going to be, an older version, because they're trying to set up the Young Avengers, I think, as well. So they got to age up these kids, similar to the Cassie Lang casting change.
I guess.
So nobody knows, but that's kind of what the rumored casting is. But Aubrey Plaza. I mean, it will be a Ingrid Goes West reunion potentially.
I forgot it. Yes, it will. Yes. Bring Wanda back. Yes.
And we'll get now our couple from Parks and Rec, both now in the MCU. So
they are. Although how much longer Mr. Pratt may be around, we don't know.
We don't know. So maybe we'll get some more answers after this third film in this Christmas special. But I think her energy with Catherine Hahn is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if this is going to be kind of like showing old witch, old world witch version of Agatha, and that's where Aubrey Plaza is going to be part of her old coven, or if it's going to be her kind of breaking out of her spell and kind of new witches type thing happening. So
the reason this casting is exciting for me, I didn't even realize the potential Ingrid Goes West reunion. Ingrid Goes West, of course, low-key the best movie of 2017. Let's not forget about that great Instagram stalker movie.
Yes,
that it was. With Elizabeth Olsen and Aubrey Plaza. But Aubrey Plaza just gives off witchy energy. She always has done. This is perfect for the show about a witch. It works. Our game today is in fact going to be based on witches in honor of Agatha
of this casting.
This casting in particular. No, I was really excited when this show was announced to begin with, and that that Catherine Hahn would obviously be coming back, because this magic side of the MCU is interesting to me. I'm into it. It's weird. There's occult things going on. There's demonic things going on. That's kind of half real world occult and half MCU made up fantasy,
magic,
whatever. which is really interesting to me. That's why I like the sort of weirdness that comes with Doctor Strange, and certainly Wanda, and then going from that into Agatha Harkness, of course. But no, I was really interested in this show when it was first announced, and adding somebody like Aubrey Plaza, someone I've always liked, just adds the excitement to that for me. It's a big thumbs up. It gets a Roger Ebert thumbs up from me.
Oh my gosh. Yes, very exciting casting. I think she's going to do great bouncing off of Catherine Hahn. I think their energies are going to be really fun. So I'm excited for this. Also, we got some casting of Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Is that the correct way of pronouncing it?
Yes, I believe the first "ya" has to be "ya."
Yeah. Like you're doing some sort of Jimmy Stewart impression. Yeah.
Abdul-Mateen II, I believe. Yes.
I can't
he
laugh.
will be
If I start laughing, so just Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
The second. Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Fair enough.
Yeah, I believe the first "ya" is a "ya." He will be now one of the actors pulling double duty with DC and Marvel under his belt, and he will be Wonder
This is
Man.
not allowed. This is heresy. No, it's not. That doesn't make any sense.
It's heresy.
I said a word. I said a fancy sounding word that I don't.
I wanted to say another word, but it definitely doesn't fit when you say things like heresy or just like somebody just yelling something in a crowd. I just think of Jamie Campbell Bower's character from the Twilight films, and they're talking about Renesmee, and he just has artifice. But that does not fit the description of that.
Scandal.
Yes. So yeah, when he said heresy, I wanted to be like artifice.
Oh, for God's sake.
But no, that does not fit the situation. But yes, he will. He was Black Manta in the Aquaman film, and they kind of hinted at him in the mid credits, I believe, of coming back potentially with another actor who is pulling double duty. Who's also in this WandaVision sphere. What's his character's name? Jimmy Woo?
Randall Park. Yes.
He's that crazy scientist looking for Aquaman.
Right. Of course,
and he was in WandaVision, Ant-Man and the Wasp, so he's in the MCU as well.
Yes.
So yeah, he's going to be Wonder Man. And I saw a video from, I always bring up things I see on TikTok because TikTok is very educational.
Is it really? Because I don't know anything about Wonder Man in the damn slightest.
Well, I don't either. Apparently he is actually a superhero who's an actor. Like that's his job. He's an actor. And I guess in the comics, Wonder Man, tying it to the White Vision show that's going to be happening.
Yes, we talked about that last week.
Yes, I saw of course a very popular TikTok creator, Straw Hat Goofy. He talked about in the comics that Vision's personality isn't actually based on Tony Stark and Bruce Banner. It's actually based on Wonder Man, that actor's persona. So now that we have a Vision with a very clean slate of personality, what are the odds of kind of this Wonder Man kind of influencing this new Vision and potentially, yes. And then how does Wanda fit in a romantic sense because she loves a Vision, and this Vision is now going to potentially be like Wonder Man. So she meets the Wonder Man character, and how is that gonna? So I don't know. So he kind of talked about some potential kind of connection between Vision and Wonder Man. So all I know about him is that he's an actor. His character is an actor.
And this Wonder Man is another TV show, isn't it? It's another TV.
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
I do like how all these MCU TV shows we've talked about in the past couple of weeks now. We spoke about that, the news about Vision Quest being in development last week, and now these castings this week have all been very Wanda Maximoff centric.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Vision, this Wonder Man apparently being related to some sort of Vision thing. Agatha, obviously. It's interesting because that's a side I just really like. I've just said this when we were talking about Agatha. It's a side I really like. I'm interested in this. I don't know anything about Wonder Man, and I almost want to keep it that way.
Yes, and have the show kind of guide you and teach you about what this character is about.
I will obviously be watching this show anyway, and having Yahya Abdul-Mateen in there because he's just great as well.
Yeah.
He was great as Black Manta. He was great in the new Candyman.
Yes.
We like Yahya Abdul-Mateen. And even if it might the second. Sorry to Yahya Abdul-Mateen Senior. Sorry to him. Who's he? Is he the father? Is he the grandfather? He's probably the father, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's probably Yahya Abdul-Mateen II's dad. Does he? It's a very convoluted, not convoluted. What am I trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Artifice. That's what I'm trying to say. Even though he's, of course, committing artifice, which he isn't actually doing because that doesn't make grammatical sense at all.
No, it doesn't.
In being in
contextual sense, yeah.
Both DC and MCU, which we all know is not allowed, and certainly not allowed now.
Several actors, including
tell that to
Shimon Hounsou,
including
Angela Bassett,
and the new creative director of DC, James Gunn. It is not allowed to do both.
No, it's definitely
not allowed at all. And people, silly people, Jeannine, silly people will be mad about this, obviously, won't they? Because silly people are silly.
Yes.
Silly people.
But I'm excited. I'm
excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've heard any kind of racial swap outrage because probably not a lot of people know who Wonder Man is.
So, is he supposed to be white? I don't know.
I mean, the pictures I've seen of the character, which we'll probably put into this put up right now, he appears to be white. So
I see.
Just in the comic images I've seen. So
ultimately, does it matter? No. So it doesn't matter then, does it? So why?
Yeah,
if it matters,
it's a character you grew up with and saw in cartoons and loved, then yeah, it matters then. Only then.
This is the yes, of course. This is the thing all the time, though, isn't it? Is that unless an individual's race or particular look is specifically inherent to who they are as a character.
The character, I think it's fine. Who plays them. Exactly. If them being, a red-headed person from a certain part of the world and, something, informs their character, them being this person with this religious background or whatever, then cast accordingly. But if they're just a guy who does a thing, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't matter.
Especially considering we really like Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Yes.
I wonder does he have any children, and would he call them Yahya Abdul-Mateen III?
I don't know if he would give all them names to somebody else. But,
such a long name.
It's very long, and props to him for I'm sure he had been pressured to change it as well.
Quite possible. No, God, no, he shouldn't have to change it.
Yes. So,
this isn't old Hollywood. We shouldn't be forcing people to change their birth names just because they sound better.
Yeah, well, even I saw an interview with Michelle Pfeiffer, and she was talking about how she got pressured to change her last name just because people found it very difficult to spell. Yes, which I find her very difficult to spell as well. But yes,
P-double-F.
Yes, P and H and all
these
things.
Once I learned it was P-double-F, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Which is, yes, but Michelle Pfeiffer's great as well, obviously.
And in
But
the
yes,
MCU,
difficult
and
names.
another DC Marvel person. But yes.
Well, yes, but not modern DC.
No, but
Not
still,
modern
I think
DC.
it counts still. Still.
Well, then you could throw Michael Keaton in there. You could throw way more
Everybody,
people.
so many people in there.
Literally
Which, yeah.
everybody.
Yes, that's what I do in my brain canon.
Nice.
But yes. Yeah, great casting for the MCU. So I'm excited to see where that goes. Yeah.
I like that he's going to be able to do something big on this front.
Yes.
That he actually, well, seemingly very much wants to do. He wanted to be part of a big superhero franchise anyway in Aquaman. Unfortunately, what Aquaman's going to do is fall off a cliff. But that's not his fault at all. So it's just kind of unfortunate, and that's why I'm really glad that he's come, over to the old enemy, and joined up with the MCU in this new Wonder Man show.
Yes.
We're into it. We're into the casting. Yes. Applause for the casting.
Yay.
Applause for the casting. Is it time to get into our Let's Talk, Jeannine?
I believe it is.
Well, I am very excited about this week because, like I said, it's double feature day. Because we're talking some double features that we've come up with. Although I think Jeannine has cheated the system.
I've cheated. I did have a double feature planned. So we're gonna talk. This kind of just came about because just in general, I've been, making some fun TikToks, and I kind of had this idea of what films would make good double features. Whether it be an actor or a different genre. So I thought that would be a fun thing to do here today. So we are talking 2 films in a genre that would make a good double feature and 2 films of an actors that would make a good double feature. But, so I had a fantasy, female-led fantasy films kind of planned as my double feature. So I can give them an honorable mention. But then again, TikTok influenced my brain as it does, which is also affecting the new Hercules live action film, which we probably should have talked about in the What's Up as well.
The new Hercules live action film?
Yes.
The live action remake one?
One of the Russos, he has now come up with there's a
No, we don't like the Russos anymore, idiots.
There's a headline out there saying that they want to make the new Hercules live action film kind of centered around what TikTokers think or what TikTokers are looking for. Yeah, I don't even know what that means, but
this is why I said they're idiots. What's this about?
I don't know. This is my favorite Disney movie, so I will be very confused and irritated if they do some dumb thing.
What are you gonna have? Are you gonna have all the ancient Greeks making TikToks?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, the Hercules film has a bunch of really kind of the modern references that wouldn't exist in that time. So it's definitely a doable thing if you do it in a really fun way, cheeky kind of wink at the camera way. But TikTok and my favorite Disney movie being adapted. But I mean, yes, I love TikTok, but I also understand kind of the ridiculous people on TikTok, the ridiculous things that come out of TikTok, the thinking behind TikTok in a lot of ways. Is I don't want that in my favorite Disney movie.
No,
so
it shouldn't be at all.
So yes, but in this case, TikTok has infused in my brain, and this girl had asked a really fun question of who would you constitute as a final boy, a final guy? We have our final girls, but who would be some final guys that are your favorite? And so I made a couple videos thinking about some, and one stuck out to me, and their films would actually make a great horror triple feature. So I kind of kicked out my original idea of fantasy adventure films led by females who do get a little bit overshadowed by the male leads in those films. For one actor in particular's really interesting and diverse horror trilogy. So that's what I'm going to be getting into.
Why don't you start off with this? Or why don't you start off with what you would consider as your honourable mention? Just give this a brief mention.
Yes. So I wanted to do some female-led adventure quest type stories. And so I was going to talk about a double feature of Labyrinth and The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. We
Yes.
have our Sarah lead character kind of kicking off this adventure. Does get a little bit foreshadowed by Bowie's Jareth because it's Bowie and he's great.
Gets a little bit overshadowed by not just Bowie's entire body, by one
Yeah.
specific part of
Yes.
Bowie's body
Exactly. Yes.
that you can't take your
That you
eyes.
can't, yes, that you cannot look away from, even when his hand
You-
is doing this crazy stuff with
No,
those
you're not
globes.
interested. You
You're
just
not.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter what your orientation is. You're transfixed by it.
Yes,
You're
they
absolutely
definitely
your eyes are just
showcase.
glued.
Yes, they definitely showcase a certain area, but a fun female-led kind of adventure story, a girl kind of going in this magical world, meeting characters along the way on this
Yes.
quest to kind of figure something out and get something done.
True,
And the
some of
Adventures
the
of
worst
Baron.
CG ever as well. in
Yes,
that
but
one
we love it. We
particular scene.
love it. And just some very kind of lovable characters that you meet along the way. And then we have the Adventures of Baron Munchausen, this little girl played by Sarah Polley, and she has to kind of get this crew of old-timey Avengers back together
Yes.
to save this, stop the siege on her town. Nobody will listen to her because she's a little girl, so she's kind of alone in trying to like make this happen and figure this out and go on this little adventure. She obviously gets foreshadowed by kind of the bigger action of the film and Baron Munchausen himself, as he's the title kind of character. But it starts with this little girl kind of going on this quest to find these guys and make them remember and bring them back together to save her city. So I thought these would be really fun. They're of kind of the same era of time, females kind of highlighted, and some really fun, lovable characters that you meet along the way. So that was going to be my double feature.
Okay.
But
your actual horror triple feature
is a John Gallagher Jr. triple feature. If you have
what a weird
yes,
person to put in your triple feature anyway.
Yes.
No, this is your decision. This is your created. You own a little cinema. You're going to put on an evening's showings
of John Gallagher Jr. films.
Yes.
So there was a very close period of time where he did 3 horror movies. If you don't know his name, you definitely know his face. And he is playing 3 very kind of distinctly different characters. And how that TikTok kind of made me think of this was he was the kind of the final guy in the film The Belko Experiment. And kind of the character, he's like this reluctant kind of hero type. He's very, kind of the one good person in this whole kind of effed up experiment of what this movie entails. And you really kind of feel for him. You want to follow him. He's kind of your typical horror movie positive side protagonist.
Yeah.
So, he's a great guy in that. Then you go to something like 10 Cloverfield Lane, and he is still kind of your good guy, but he's kind of silly, he's kind of comedic, he's kind of goofy. But he does, he has this great kind of heartfelt monologue about things he was too afraid to do. He's obviously playing someone who's not as confident, somebody who kind of uses laughter to kind of get through things, and kind of meets a really sad fate in that movie. But kind of his time with Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, kind of him kind of always trying to make her feel comfortable in this kind of weird situation. Just another kind of lovable character, different from the Belko Experiment character. And then you go into something like Hush, where he is just the man. I think that's just like his only its name in that movie. It's credited as the man, as this effed up killer who really just wants to play games with her and play games with his prey. Like he had several opportunities to just kill her outright, but instead he would rather just kind of play with his food. So the fact that he's just kind of this sick, twisted guy, kind of the choices he makes in terms of just messing with her, how creepy he is. He does have his kind of smart moments as a kind of killer character, and just kind of how sick and twisted he is. And this is the same guy who played kind of 2 characters you really liked in other horror films. So just to see his versatility in these movies, and just kind of seeing him having this little moment in horror, it's just a really cool thing. So yeah, I would recommend a triple feature, a trilogy of films of John G. Gallagher in horror, or John Gallagher Jr. in horror, with Hush, The Belko Experiment, and 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yes, okay. And this is the great thing about double features, triple features. You have to have a through line.
Yes.
Not necessarily a plot through line, not even necessarily a thematic through line. Because in this that Jeannine's come up with there, what you have is a actor's range through line. And we like that. It's interesting because he's an underthought of horror actor. It must be said, because all those movies came about at, within a couple of years of
each other. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you feel like nobody talks about him, and he kind of had that explosion 5 or so years ago, and seemingly hasn't followed it up massively. Seemingly.
Yeah. So, and he's somebody I would love to see in more things, and like obviously has proven himself to be a very kind of diverse actor, particularly in the horror genre. So yeah.
Yeah. Bring him back. Let him do more things. Celebrate him with Jeannine's triple feature of horror.
Yes.
The John G. Gallagher. That's not his name, is it? The John Gallagher Jr.
Jr. Like, I don't know where John G. Gallagher
Are you thinking of Edward G. Robinson?
Maybe.
Possibly. And that's not even your actor double feature, is it?
No.
That's actually your genre double feature. Yes. You've just gone for a horror double feature.
Yes.
Well, my genre pick for double feature, Jeannine, did you know that it's Noir-vember?
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, no, I didn't. I mean, this is a concept that I've only just come across this year. I think this has been because it's been my year of noir, of getting really deep into noir movies and all kinds of weirdness like that. I've come across the concept of Noir-vember, and it's very similar to what everybody does with horror movies in October. Is you have your list, one for each day or what have you. You go through phases and all this, but it's just done for the days of November. It's Noir-vember. So I've done what I think is a really good, really fitting, really messed up and manipulative, but really enjoyable noir double feature of Gaslight and My Name is Julia Ross.
Okay, well, I've never heard of that second one, but I definitely know Gaslight.
I've almost gone A movie, B movie.
Okay.
In very similar style. My Name is Julia Ross. We've talked about Gaslight.
Yes.
On the main show, we did a wonderful episode on Gaslight on the main show, 1944's Gaslight. Charles Boyer, Ingrid Bergman, Angela Lansbury's first ever movie.
Yes.
A wonderful, wonderful movie. A horrible movie.
Yeah.
A deeply, disturbingly manipulative movie, but ultimately one
that coined a term that, has
coined the term gaslighting, exactly. That you get in the end just great satisfaction in watching Ingrid Bergman completely turn it all around on Charles Boyer. My Name is Julia Ross is only about 63 minutes long. Bring back hour-long and hour and a quarter long movies. I'm on this trend now. We should be bringing them back. This is how you do double features. Nobody wants to sit through 5.5 hours of double feature, Jeannine. They want to sit through 3 hours of double feature at the most.
Yes, I think that's fair. Yeah.
So have one of your movies. I've curated this very particularly on all fronts of double feature.
Yeah.
Have an A movie, have a B movie.
Yes. Introduce people to something new.
That is what double features do. They have an A movie. I apologize for my voice at the moment.
No,
Give me 1 second.
I think we're both a little coffee at the moment. I was around a 4-year-old with a cold recently, not COVID, just a cold, and yeah, I think I picked up a little bit of his cough. So I think both of us are both a little today,
Wait,
but
yes, it's not very good when you're talking for 2 hours.
yeah.
It's unfortunately, which is a shame. But we're good. We're good. But yes, I've thought on all fronts with this double feature. Have an A movie, have a B movie. This is something double features do.
Yes.
When people would go and watch them, when they used to be a real thing in the cinemas. And My Name is Julia Ross is my B movie, but I actually think it's like the best movie about gaslighting apart from Gaslight. It
Okay.
really rivals Gaslight. It's a brilliant movie. It
Ooh.
stars Nina Foch, who is a Columbia B movie. Is she Columbia?
Like regular.
I feel like she's Columbia. Columbia B movie, kind of
Regular.
regular, real. I mean, not even regular. She is the absolute face of kind of B noir.
Okay.
But really good quality. Like, don't think of B movies as cheap, kind of half garbage.
Yeah, just not as kind of popular
Nonsense
as
movies. Yeah. They're cheap movies.
Yeah.
They're easy to make movies, but the great ones, and I'm telling you that My Name is Julia Ross is a great one. Are well worth watching, well worth celebrating. They are brilliant, brilliant movies. And Nina Foch in that is really good. She's basically hired as the secretary to a wealthy estate. She's in London, and this wealthy estate is in, I think, Cornwall in England. She's hired as the secretary there. She goes there and basically is manipulated into thinking that she is actually the kind of man of the house's dead wife.
What?
It sounds really weird when I
Yeah.
put it like that, but I think she gets knocked out at one point. Forgive me, it's been a few months since I've watched the movie, and I really probably should have looked at it a little bit closer. But I think she's knocked out. She's given like sleeping pills, which is how she gets there in the first place.
Okay. And then she's led to be convinced that
yeah, and everybody calls her
by that name. Yeah.
Everybody calls her by that name, and the title "My Name is Julia Ross" is her telling herself, "No, my name is Julia Ross.
I'm not this person. Yeah.
I'm not this person." Everybody around us telling her she's Mrs. Whoever. It's really this very, very sinister movie.
I like that.
That's very much in the vein of Gaslight. And obviously just being that the only person you can trust is yourself. And you have to really have serious self-belief. And
Yes.
Julia in that movie, Nina Foch in that movie is really good at just conveying the confusion.
Mm-hmm.
But the real determined self-belief of wanting to escape, of remembering who she is despite all this ridiculous detailed manipulation going on.
Yeah.
It's almost more extreme than Gaslight. Charles Boyer in Gaslight didn't have Ingrid Bergman think she was someone else, which is what's going on in this movie. I'm not condoning what Charles Boyer is doing in Gaslight. It's horrendous.
But it's a little different, yeah.
There is, I do think, levels, though. And I think what they do to Julia in My Name is Julia Ross is 10 times actually worse than what, than what Boyer does to Bergman.
Well,
in Gaslight. It really is. It's weird.
You'll probably hate me. But my millennial brain and also my brain of just now trying to create these triple features is adding the film The Net to your
Net.
double to your double feature. Basically where Sandra Bullock is, the early days of trying to depict the internet in movies, where it's a kind of this elaborate plot where she is made to believe she is somebody else. And so she kind of has to trust herself and like, no, I am me. I am this person. Stop telling me I'm this other person. But everything, her whole identity at this point kind of is depicted, your whole life, your whole internet, your identities on the internet that can be easily changed. So when people pull up her name, pull up her ID, all of these things, she is this completely different person that everyone is telling her she is. And so she thinks she's going crazy and she's like on the run, and it's this whole kind of thing. So when you were talking about My Name is Julia Ross, I was definitely thinking about The Net, the 90s internet film with Sandra Bullock, where she's being gaslit and made to believe she is somebody else. So a little combination of both films. So yeah, if you want to make these two movies a triple feature, throw The Net in there.
Why not? Why not? I should also say that My Name is Julia Ross is directed by Joseph H. Lewis, who is a wonderful noir director and does not get the credit he deserves simply because he's not, a massive name who did enormous movies.
But he did good movies?
Unbelievably good movies, unbelievably good noir movies. They're just not the big name ones that you may have heard of. If you're just kind of surface level into noir, which is obviously what I was before.
Yeah, and you're going to get kind of popular ones. Well, yeah, I'm definitely excited to check that out because it sounds like a good movie. I might actually do that double feature, or rather triple feature, in the near future.
It would be it would just work as a double feature on so many levels.
Yes, I'm definitely excited to do that.
Yes. My Name is Julia Ross and Gaslight. A Noir-Vember double feature for everyone.
I like that. Okay, so my actor double feature is Meryl Streep, but
Streep,
a subgenre of Meryl Streep, as an actress who has told stories about, walking into meetings with film producers and having them tell her she's ugly. I remember her talking about a story where she was up for the role that I believe Jessica Lange got in the King Kong movie.
Okay.
Yes. And the director or the producer was French, I believe. And so he was kind of on the phone or talking to someone in French and talking about how she's ugly. She's too ugly to play this woman. But Meryl Streep speaks French.
Nice
yes. And she understood everything he was saying about her. So, I am going with the era and subgenre of glamorous, famous snob Meryl.
Jeannine, just call this double feature what you actually want to call this double feature. Sexy Streep.
Yes, I think that's a lot simpler. Yes, with Death Becomes Her and She-Devil.
It works.
She's playing kind of these glamorous characters. In Death Becomes Her, she's an actress. In She-Devil, she is a kind of famous romance novelist. She's very kind of glamorous and beautiful and very fun comedically, which up to that point I think she was very dramatic in her roles. So to kind of see her hit this era and really being great in comedy and playing kind of these similarly kind of styled characters, I think just makes for a fun double feature. In She-Devil, the star of that film is Roseanne Barr, but she kind of comes in and steals the show. Roseanne Barr just kind of yes, Roseanne Barr, this frumpy housewife, her husband, played by Ed Begley Jr., just, treats her like crap and doesn't really acknowledge her. And then it's kind of this revenge story. He ends up leaving her for Meryl Streep's character.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how she plays into the story. So yeah, she's definitely kind of the more glamorous, accomplished woman in this film, and so she's just very kind of sexy and funny, and I love her, just seeing kind of her go from these kind of very serious films she was doing, The Deer Hunter, Sophie's Choice, and things like that, to
Kramer versus Kramer,
yes,
ridiculously serious
the
movies.
French Lieutenant's Women, like all of these
Yes.
very kind of serious movies into kind of these very silly yet gorgeous, glamorous, sexy characters. So
Yeah.
to see her do this, and then of course kind of the main show of her in Death Becomes Her, a really fun comedy, her kind of chemistry and like that kind of trio of her and Bruce Willis and um, Goldie Hawn,
Yes.
just a very fun comedy, very kind of campy, both very campy films, these films together. Just a fun different side of Meryl Streep that I don't think we've seen up to that point, and even after the fact, like she never really played any kind of roles like this. So to have these two movies where she plays very kind of similar characters and really shows her comedic chops and very kind of fun campy chops, I love. So these movies I think are definitely fun to watch back to back, to see a different side of Meryl that we weren't used to seeing up to that point and haven't really seen after.
No,
so
it's definitely an era, and that is a great double feature to have in terms of a person's career
catalog, especially an actress like Meryl Streep, who is kind of the name you use when you talk about great actress.
But if you look at if you're doing this for any actor or any director or anybody like that, any writer, then it's too easy to just go for what you would consider their two best movies, because they may have come in completely different eras when they're completely different people and they don't mesh as a double feature. That is a perfect double feature. It encapsulates an era. It's really the only two of the type she ever did. She's brilliant in them. Especially, I can speak to Death Becomes Her. I can't actually speak to She-Devil. But you would think Goldie Hawn's the more kind of typically sexy woman of that particular era. Everybody's fawning over Goldie Hawn. Meryl Streep is absolutely at the same level.
She is. She's, and like to kind of just be seen in general in Hollywood as not your conventional kind of, beautiful actress, as she kind of tells these stories about, movie producers seeing her. And then I think even I've heard her tell stories about kind of when she hit 40, she was offered like 4 or 5 roles as witches. And she's like, what the hell? Like, I'm only 40. What the fuck? So to kind of see her, people, be portrayed as kind of the more desirable, beautiful kind of character. Like in both of these films, someone leaves their partner to be with her. So just to kind of let people actually see her as beautiful and glamorous to that kind of, very stereotypical standard, and show that she is beautiful. She was beautiful this whole time, but to kind of put that glam on her, so that you really kind of, hammers the idea home of, her being a beautiful woman, for people who just kind of, have this cookie cutter idea of beauty in Hollywood. So that kind of plays into a kind of, seeing her in this vein as well as kind of a fun thing.
I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, my actor double feature is an interesting one, actually. I think it's an interesting one.
Okay.
I don't think it's as easy to mesh them together as your Meryl Streep one is, because I've gone for someone else who you might not consider conventionally Hollywood attractive, Peter Lorre.
Oh,
I want to do a Peter Lorre double feature, please. And for some reason, I want to do a Peter Lorre double feature of M and Crime and Punishment.
Oh, goodness.
Because I think this works actually really quite well as a showcase of Peter Lorre at a particular time of Peter Lorre's career.
Okay.
M's obviously 1931. It's Fritz Lang. It's deeply thoughtful. It's very philosophical. It's a nasty movie.
It's, now that I think about it, it's kind of like what Halloween Kills was trying to be, but did not execute well at all.
Is it?
I in terms of
Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills. Yeah.
Oh no, I was sorry. Halloween. Yes, it is quite Halloween Kills-ish. It is quite Halloween Kills. It's
Just
not like
much more
Halloween
well.
Ends.
No, it much more well executed. But I think the ideas, now that you mention M, I'm kind of like, it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, the public really coming to accuse
To,
one person of
and does it
doing
does it
horrendous
make them,
things.
yes, and does it make them any better to kind of,
Yes.
stoop to that level? Yeah.
But there's obviously deeply interesting things going on in Peter Lorre's last kind of shout to them all. Yes, obviously the movie's German, but it still doesn't deter away from the
No.
quality of Peter Lorre's
And the great
performance
memes.
in that final scene. It's unbelievable. When he's saying, I have something wrong with me. He's basically, I'm mentally ill. I can't control myself.
Yeah.
It's like, what's right and what's wrong? Yes, he's committed horrific acts, but is he in control of himself?
Yeah, it's like the Penguin guy just trying to get some help. And
these are incredible questions to ask, though, and this is why there's a great episode of the main show from a fairly long time ago now, actually,
where we covered M. Yeah,
where we covered M. M is a brilliant movie.
So great.
It is really Peter Lorre's. It's obviously still in it's still in Germany.
Yeah.
So it's, like I said, it's 1931. Fritz Lang's a phenomenal director anyway. This isn't about Fritz Lang. This is about Peter Lorre. And I just think that having a double feature of his basically star-making role, whether he was ever a leading man in a leading man sense, no, okay, he may not have ever reached necessarily those heights.
No,
but he was arguably the best ever character actor.
Yes.
Or the best ever supporting character actor. He's just unbelievable. But M isn't necessarily his movie, but it kind of, because it's about him. His face might not be on screen a great deal, certainly for the first lot of the movie.
Part of it, yeah.
But once you see him, you're pretty much with him, and then certainly the latter part of the movie, he's kind of hiding away. He's hiding from people, and he gives this phenomenal speech at the end. So to have his star-making movie, a brilliant movie that M is, paired up with Joseph von Sternberg's Crime and Punishment, which is a movie that I watched recently, a couple of months ago, that I actually really quite enjoyed. This was Peter Lorre. This was Peter Lorre now. I think it was Peter Lorre's first English movie, or first American movie. First time he was speaking English. So it's really, oh look, this really well-respected German star. I think Crime and Punishment's 1935, so there's 4 years between the two of them. This really big European star, Peter Lorre, comes over to America. He's the lead in, Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment.
Yeah.
This ridiculously really well-revered piece of literature. That I was like, am I going to enjoy this? Like, Crime and Punishment?
Yeah.
It's pretty daunting. The movie's like 90 minutes long.
Oh, wow. Okay. I would have thought that too. Probably why I've never watched it.
It's a really undaunting movie. It's a really quite good movie. I think I'm a Joseph von Sternberg fan anyway. I don't think it's Joseph von Sternberg's best movie. I don't think it's Peter Lorre's best movie.
But just in conjunction with M, it works really well.
In conjunction with M, it works as a showcase of Peter Lorre's star-making performance and Peter Lorre's first American movie.
Yes.
He's also playing very similar characters in the two of them. He's guilt-ridden in M. He is guilt-ridden in M. He knows he does horrible things. He is guilt-ridden. Crime and Punishment is basically all about being guilt-ridden, being overconfident, and then going, oh dear, I've committed a murder. It's the entire story of Crime and Punishment. And you get Peter Lorre. Edward Arnold's playing opposite Peter Lorre in Crime and Punishment.
Okay.
You get really great scenes with the two of them. where they're kind of trying to one-up each other.
Yeah.
And Peter Lorre's really good at that. Peter Lorre's like low-key kind of charismatic. Really, really charismatic. Even though he's not necessarily massively handsome, or, you know, his dialect can be quite thick at times.
Yeah.
Especially in his first English-speaking movie. It's noticeably, you know, his English in movies noticeably comes better once you get into the 40s and certainly later on. I just find him a very, very captivating actor. I think he's playing very similar characters in the two of them.
Okay.
And I think in terms of stages of Peter Lorre's career, they're a very interesting two to pair up. And you wouldn't think of Crime and Punishment as being the Peter Lorre movie, but it is his first American movie, and it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good movie, and it's von Sternberg, who's just great directing anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if you don't know him, you know his face, you get this kind of creepy vibe from him. I actually kind of found myself in this little wormhole. I was thinking about making a TikTok of like actors and kind of caricature animations of them in animation.
He's a brilliant caricature, yes.
And yes, the cartoon of like an old Hollywood actor that came up the most was him. Like there's so many depictions of his droopy eyes and the little space in his teeth, and like
unbelievable face.
Yes.
He has an unbelievable face, and he's brilliant in both movies. He's typically Peter Lorre, and it's a great showcase of a younger Peter Lorre as well, early 30s.
Yeah,
you know, in the early 30s, they're a really good couple of movies. M is the obviously better movie.
Yeah.
In pretty much every way, but don't discount his Crime and Punishment. Don't discount von Sternberg's Crime and Punishment. It's a good movie. And Peter Lorre's great in it. So yes, Peter Lorre double feature.
Some new movies to check out, because both of your double features, I've only seen one of the films, so I'll definitely will have to do that. And I don't have a suggestion to make your double feature this time a triple feature. But
it could be any Peter Lorre movie. What's his best movie? Probably is M, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah,
M might be his best movie that I've seen, possibly.
Yeah.
Probably because he is the
popular,
lead.
Casablanca.
Casablanca.
He's not even like the star in that.
Role. Maltese Falcon, he's obviously great in, but again, he's supporting.
Yeah.
I watched Tales of Terror again on Halloween, which is just great. It's Vincent Price and Peter. It's the anthology one of Edgar Allan Poe things.
Okay.
There's 3 stories. Peter Lorre's in the Black Cat one in the middle, where he walls Vincent Price into a wall and walls him into a wall. That doesn't make sense.
He traps him.
Vincent Price is Peter Lorre's very drunk all the time. Peter Lorre enters a wine tasting contest opposite Vincent Price, where you've seen all these gifs of Vincent Price making silly faces.
Oh yeah.
This is in this movie.
Oh, okay.
Peter Lorre's just some sort of ridiculous drunkard who's swinging down all this wine. He's just going, yeah, that's a Cabernet Blanc from 1863. And everybody's going, yes, it is. How does he know this? And Vincent Price is taking everything really seriously.
Yeah.
Vincent Price then gets invited back to Peter Lorre's house and starts basically. Peter Lorre's terrible to his wife, so his wife basically goes off with Vincent Price.
Oh my gosh!
And Peter Lorre eventually finds out and takes them both down to the basement, like drugs them, take them both down to the basement, hangs them up, and then starts building a brick wall in front of them.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Which is Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes, very dark.
He's in that movie. And it just reminded me of just how great Peter Lorre is.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
I do like watching that movie. I think he plays really well with Vincent Price, actually. He's also in The Raven with Vincent Price and Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
And these are obviously early 60s movies. So Peter Lorre's noticeably older than he is in, and quite noticeably more rotund, shall we say, as well.
Yes.
But he's still great. He's wonderful. He has so much fun in that.
Okay.
Definitely, that would be a silly Peter Lorre double feature, Tales of Terror and the Raven, where he's supporting off of Vincent Price.
Yeah.
But for a really good Peter Lorre double feature, go for the one I mentioned. Anyway, Jeannine, we do have some fun games to play.
Yes.
Which we wanted to. As I alluded to before, this is a witch-based fun games. I'm referring to it as which is which. Because I've always loved that saying.
Yes.
I can remember seeing that saying on some sort of book somewhere as a child, and I just thought, "Ooh, which is which?" What a very
so clever
fun thing to say.
Yes.
So we have which is which.
We have descriptions of different witches. So the goal is to name the witch or the movie the witch is from.
Yeah, you can name the movie in some instances, or the witch if you know specifically the witch's name.
Yes.
Some you're just not gonna really know the witch's names unless you really know the product.
Yes. So we'll be lenient on that. But yes, which is which game.
Which is which. We have 3 each. Jeannine, would you like to answer first, as you often like to?
Yes, please.
Well, we live in a really nice house with our weird older aunties, but all we really want is love. The power of our sisterhood, a few spells, and a hell of a lot of alcohol help us break our loveless curse. Who are we?
You are the witches from Practical Magic.
We are the witches from Practical Magic. Yes, we are Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman from Practical Magic, who I've got absolutely no idea what their names are.
Sarah and I can't remember Nicole Kidman's name.
I have no idea.
Sarah is Sandra Bullock.
And Nicole is Nicole.
Jillian. Yes.
Jillian. There you go.
Yes. Or Sally. Sally, not Sarah. Sally. I just watched this too. Sally and Jillian. Yes.
There we go. Practical Magic. Yes.
Yeah.
Great witch movie.
Yes. You may not think me a witch on first glance. I'm pretty okay with the demise of my siblings. And while most witches ride brooms, I have a more sudsy form of transportation.
Sudsy? Oh God, who's the one which it's Kathy Najimy. It's Kathy Najimy from Hocus Pocus. It's some.
Oh, is that your answer?
With the mop. Sudsy. Mop. Don't like your sisters. Have sisters. I don't care about my sisters. She's the one with the mop.
Wow, that is a good guess. But you are incorrect.
How am I incorrect? She's the one with the mop.
Well, I mean, you may not think me a witch on first glance.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that part. You definitely know she's a witch.
Yes, you definitely.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
I'm talking about Glinda, the Wizard of Oz.
Glinda Sudsy with a big bubble. Okay, fair enough.
And she really gives no craps. That was my sister that you crushed with a house. I'm going to help you, little girl who killed my sister. I'm going to help you kill my other sister. And like, you don't look like a witch. Only bad witches are ugly. But you thought I was a witch, bitch. That's why, like, my only thought process with Dorothy is always like, are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Oh my God, you're not wrong.
Linda literally asked Dorothy, are you a good witch or a bad witch? And then Dorothy's like, you don't look like a witch. Only bad witches are ugly. So couldn't tell if it was good or bad. What you trying to say?
Judy Garland's not ugly, Glinda.
Yes, exactly. So, yes.
Don't be horrible.
Linda, Glinda.
Fair
She
enough.
travels by a bubble. But yes, I did not realize that was kind of close to close to Captain
I don't know who. I don't know which Sanderson she is. I only know Winifred Sanderson for some reason.
Winifred, Sarah, and oh my gosh,
what is Kathy Najimy's name?
Why am I forgetting?
I don't know. Broom, Hoover, and Mop.
Mary.
That's what I know them as.
Winifred, Sarah, and Mary. Okay. That's why I kept saying Sarah, because I was thinking of Sarah Jessica Parker switch.
Yes, okay, Glinda. Fair enough. It makes sense.
Yes.
I am the ancient leader of a coven in a really colourful dancing school. And I really let all the others just do the work for me. I'm also doing a really good impression of this particular witch today with my ridiculous throat voice. Just to give you a little bit more of a bonus there.
Okay. Is it that creepy thing behind the curtain in Suspiria?
I'll give you the creepy thing behind the curtain because you at least know the specific scene. Yes. Do you know her name? I will give you the point. Do you know her name?
I do not know her name.
She's called Helena Marcos.
Okay. Yes. I've only seen Suspiria the one time. I believe that was during the Jeannine Hasn't Seen month on Morgan and
Jeannine. Yes, no, it is the creepy one behind the
who's the leader. Yes. The curse I've placed on my accusers is centuries old. My wedding is truly wild, and my groom is best known for being two-faced. This is
Veronica Lake in I Married a Witch.
Yes, character named Jennifer. Yes, because I love you truly. Truly, dear.
With a tornado going on in the middle of the church.
Yeah, so the wedding is happening, but a tornado is keeps happening during this wedding. And the wedding singer who's singing Truly, she will not give up. Every time she just restarts the song and tries to sing it.
The most farcical scene I've ever seen in any movie.
My wedding is truly wild. And as you know, her groom was played by Friedrich March, who was the Dr. Jekyll. Dr. Jekyll.
He was Dr. Jekyll. He was Dr. Jekyll.
As they pronounced it in that movie. Yes.
Brilliantly two-faced. A great movie that I Married a Witch is, I must say.
So I Married a Witch. Yeah, it was very fun. Yeah.
Really good movie.
Yes.
Okay, Jeannine, last one for you. School is difficult enough without having all these powers thrown on me. They just turned up one day. And why is my cat so sassy?
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I am Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Yes. I am specifically Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but there are a few iterations.
But I would say Melissa Joan Hart.
I'm Melissa Joan Hart, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That Salem is a lot more sassy.
Ridiculously sassy. He needs to calm down, does Salem, in Melissa Joan Hart, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
It's ridiculous. All right. I can give you what you want, but you may pay an unfortunate price. My sidekick slither, and I'm sassy as hell and know the importance of body language.
Oh, slither. I'm gonna have to think. I'm gonna have to cough again. So I apologize, Jeannine. Please entertain the public.
I can read it again. That would help. I can give you what you want, but you may pay an unfortunate price. My sidekicks slither. I'm sassy as hell and know the importance of body language.
Sidekicks slither. Know the importance of body language. Sassy witch. It's the witches from Macbeth. It's not. It's definitely not. Who's this? Slither. See, if you'd say they would fly, I would have said the Wicked Witch of the West. That makes
I didn't want to pick her because she was too obvious. That's why I went with Glinda.
Yeah. Slithering sidekicks for a witch. Why don't I know this? I do know this, don't I? I do know who this is.
Technically, they don't slither on the ground, if that helps.
Slither on the ground? You can't slither in the air.
But you can kind of slither somewhere else.
What is this? I don't know this at all.
Really?
I'm confused.
I used some keywords in there. I'll give it to you one more time.
Did. Okay.
I can give you what you want, but you may pay an unfortunate price. My sidekicks slither, and I'm sassy as hell and know the importance of body language.
Maleficent. No.
Morgan. No, incorrect.
That was my answer. It's not Maleficent.
And don't underestimate the importance of body language. Ha! Ursula, the sea witch.
Slither, of course.
Unfortunate for unfortunate souls.
You can tell it's been approximately
Flotsam and Jetsam.
You can tell it's been approximately 18 years since I've seen The Little Mermaid, can't you, Jeannine?
Which is why you had no outrage, because you hadn't seen the movie.
I've seen it once, literally that long ago.
Well, I would think A Poor Unfortunate Souls was pretty iconic, even not having seen that movie.
Yeah, I should know that. I should know. That's very bad of me.
Yeah.
I guessed another Disney
Disney, yeah. So you were kind of feeling like those were maybe cues from a Disney song. Yeah. But Maleficent doesn't actually.
No, I wasn't feeling like a song. Doesn't Maleficent have some sort of slithering thing? She has
a crow. Just like an evil bird.
Yeah. No, does she have the crow? I thought the evil queen from Snow White had a crow.
No, I don't know what
does Maleficent have a crow? I don't know.
Maleficent has a crow. She has a bird.
Okay. Birds don't slither. Flotsam and Jetsam slither.
In the water.
They don't slither. They swim. It's the water. That's not slithering.
Well,
they're eels. They're eels, aren't they?
You can slither in the water, I think. That's a thing.
Yeah. You should have said something about divine. I'd have got it then. I would have done. I probably would have done. Anyway, yes, fun and games. Fun and games. Yes. We like fun and games. Which is which? Jeannine wins,
I win. Woo!
What a surprise. Jeannine, would you be so kind to me and do the outro this week? Because my voice is just...
Yes,
I don't think it's up to it anymore.
Oh man, you always do all
I know.
Okay.
I know I do.
Making me work. Okay. Well, of course, this isn't the only show you can find on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel or the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed. We have other fun things on this channel, like watch-alongs, live discussions. We do some fun videos ourselves, movie reviews. Morgan shows his physical media collection, some really fun videos. So check that all out on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, do all of the things. But also on the feed, you can find our Wednesday show Morgan hasn't seen every Wednesday, where I force Morgan to watch things he hasn't seen. All month long, we are talking Spielberg movies Morgan hasn't seen. So it's going to be a really fun month here on Morgan Hasn't Seen. And of course, every Friday we have the main show, our classic films podcast, It's a Wonderful Podcast, where we give love to those classic movies. So please check out all the shows on the podcast feed every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We have you covered. And check out the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel with this very show, Monday Madness, and some other great fun things on the YouTubes.
Yes. Subscribe, ding the notification bells. Check out all the stuff scrolling at the bottom of the screen if you are watching, including, of course, the Patreon, the It's a Wonderful Podcast Patreon, and the donation link as well, which you can find in the description. Go to patreon.com/It's a Wonderful One if you want to join us there. We cannot do what we do without the generous support of our wonderful patrons. We love them dearly.
Yes, we do.
We hope they can forgive my voice today.
Yes. You can find the show on the Twitters at It's a Wonderful One. You're going to find Morgan on Twitter Morgan.
Yes, at the Purple
At
Dawn.
the Purple Dawn with a 3 instead of an E, because 3 is the magic number.
You've done it all yourself. Thank you, Jeannine.
You can find me on Twitter at Jeannine_, on Instagram and TikTok at Jeannine. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, you can see the link scrolling below, or just search on teespring.com. It's a Wonderful Podcast, and find some fun merch over there, some fun Stranger Things designs, logos for our shows. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop at g9design.bigcartel.com.
Would you like me to do the countdown then?
I mean, I think you can handle that.
I can do
very
that.
Softly, do very ASMR-y, quiet.
I'll just do an impression of Helena Marcos the Witch, because this is how it is exactly how I sound now. 3, 2, 1. Bye. I apologise profusely.